welcome to the Pulsating Biology. And in today's video, we are already covering the topic nutrition in animals, and the topic for this video is the mammalian digestive system. In the mammalian digestive system, basically includes the mouth and the buccal cavity. Now, in the mouth and the buccal cavity in the mammalian digestive system includes basically three main components, and the three main components are basically the tongue, the teeth, and the salivary gland. These three main components makes up the buccal cavity. And what does the mouth do? Basically, mouth is responsible for the process of ingestion. Now let's talk about what does ingestion mean. Ingestion is basically the process of intaking the food. Whenever you are ingestion or taking in the food from the mouth, this is the major function of mouth. Whenever we talk about the buccal cavity, which is a part of mouth, includes three main components, that is the tongue, teeth, and the salivary glands. When you talk about tongue, majorly the tongue is referred to the taste buds. It includes all the taste buds due to which we are able to identify what kind of food that we are intaking. Similarly, when you talk about the teeth, there are four kinds of teeth in the human body. Number one is incisors. Incisors are the frontmost teeth. Then we have canines. Canines are behind the incisors. Then we have molars, and then we have the premolars. These are the four kinds of teeth. Molars, and then we have the premolars. These are the four kinds of teeth that are basically present inside the human buccal cavity, and these makes up the buccal cavity for the teeth. When you talk about the jaws, there are two jaws, the upper jaw and the lower jaw. What you need to learn about the upper jaw and the lower jaw is that upper jaw is fixed, whereas lower jaw is movable. Whenever you are speaking or whenever you are talking, you are able to move your lower jaw, but you cannot use upper jaw. Upper jaw is basically fixed and it is not able to be moved. Other than that, when you talk about salivary glands, there are several salivary glands that are present in the buccal cavity, but we're going to discuss some of them. That is the, for example, parotid gland, and the other one that you need to remember is the sublingual gland. These are the major and the basic glands that you need to learn about, and this is about the mouth and the buccal cavity. Now let's talk about the functions of the buccal cavity. As we've already discussed that the teeth are present in the buccal cavity. So simply the teeth are responsible for basically the breakdown of food particles that are coming or that are ingested by our body. Then the saliva that is present in our buccal cavity is basically responsible for softening the food or moistening the food. So we'll say that it is responsible for softening the food. When you talk about the tongue that is present in the buccal cavity, is responsible for making up the bolus. Bolus is a round structure that is made up by the tongue, and by the help of the tongue, it is basically pushed backward into the part of the pharynx. Pharynx is the next pathway once the food has covered the buccal cavity area. Then when you go on to the certain enzymes, we say that there is salivary enzyme that is present in our mouth that is responsible for the breakdown of the maltose. The maltose that is taken up by our ingestion process basically is broken down by an enzyme which is known as the salivary amylase. These are the four major functions that are basically performed by all of the components that are present in the mouth. Now let's talk about the next structure, that is the pharynx. So pharynx is basically a cylindrical shaped pathway, which is a mid part of the throat that is behind the mouth and the nasal cavity, and basically it is above the esophagus and the larynx. What is larynx? Larynx is the sound box that is present in the human body. It is considered or said to be sound box very casually, which is behind the trachea. Sound box which is behind the trachea. So larynx is basically continued by the trachea. Trachea is also known as commonly as the food pipe, through which the food and the other molecules are basically transferred into the stomach. So this is kind of the stomach, which is a very weird stomach anyway. So this is the trachea, that is the food pipe that is internally lined with the mucin membrane that helps the food to be moisture as soon as it receives the trachea region. Alright, then it is covered with a slit that is known as the glottis. The glottis basically prevents the other air particles or other particles to enter into the trachea. Once the glottis is basically covered, but the food do not enter the trachea as it is covered by cartilaginous flap-like structure that is known as the epiglottis. So, epiglottis is basically covers the windpipe so that the food molecules cannot enter into the windpipe. Then, if you talk about any substance that enters into the trachea, for say any microbe or any foreign particle, then we basically cough and all of those particles are basically thrown out of the body. So, this is the major structure of the pharynx.